let's try this again. See how we do this time. Let's see how this goes. It seems to keep dropping off, like it's kind of, I don't know, yeah, it doesn't seem like they're really pushing my lives out very much. I used to get quite a bit of viewers, but now it's just kind of, I don't know. So I've not really been going live on here much, so maybe it's been, yeah. Oh well, never mind. But we just gotta do what we've got to do on it, you know. Yeah, hopefully it'll still start to slowly build over time, and we get some momentum going with it. And now I'm only streaming on here. Hopefully I can build momentum, not get distracted with the TikTok nonsense, because that app is a freaking joke. My mum was like, oh, maybe I could use her account, but I'm like, you know what, I just don't even want to bother. It's probably just going to end up getting banned anyway. So I can't be bothered. And the people on there suck anyway for the most part. But yeah, welcoming everyone. There's 2 people here. Hello. How you all doing this evening? Who was here? Let me know who you are. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go live on here. Hello, Karen. Welcome in. How are you doing? Welcome to my live. Hope you're well. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here and like the live as well. There's 15 people here, so good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I just put a post out. So yeah, so maybe you could go vote on it. It says, have you heard of methylene blue? How's it going? Anime time. Welcome in. How you doing tonight? Hope you're all well. Thank you for the like. Hello, Aza. How you doing? So yeah, it's just so I do a lot of talk on like health and things like that. How's it going? El Mino. To be honest, I was just scrolling and came across this little, what's your content about? We talk a lot about health, fitness, stuff like that really on here, or things like that. Also just like self-improvement and mindset. How's it going, Stu? Confidence building, things like that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, welcome in here, people. Hope you're all well tonight. If you're new here, can you subscribe, please? If you want to see more content about your health, fitness, stuff like that. So, but I could show you what physique we're working with at the moment, so you can kind of get an idea that I have at least some kind of knowledge. So yeah, we're just do a quick demonstration. So yeah, we're doing, you know, yeah, we're getting there. So yeah, do a bit of a flex so you can see what we're dealing with. So some vascularity there. Yeah, so that's what we talk a lot about, you know, practical advice. None of the BS that you get on the social media. There's a lot of BS advice out there. There's a lot of snake oil nonsense. People putting out programs saying, oh, this will speed up your muscle growth, some gimmicky stuff, when they're probably on some steroids. Or they just have really good genetics and they're trying to sell you some BS, basically. So yeah, how are we all doing tonight, people? I hope you're all doing well. How long have you been on your fitness journey? Been a few years, but I've been kind of a bit inconsistent with things, but I've been really dialing in the last few months. I started doing the creatine a few months ago. So if you look back, I started doing the creatine, and made quite a bit of improvement since then. So I think that was really like the missing link, because I was struggling to make progress, and just like it just felt like all my workouts were just kind of weak. Hello, Darren Digital. Hope you're doing well. My workouts were a bit weak, and I started taking that stuff. I noticed I was able to kind of go a bit longer. I was not burning out so quickly. It's just, yeah, it's been really good. So really been enjoying it more. I can get more push-ups. I can do more reps with things. It's, yeah. So I think that's probably contributed at least to some degree. But yeah, I hope everyone's well. I started to be able to do some kind of cool stuff like L-sit holds and stuff like that, and yeah, so it's been slow progress, but Rome wasn't built in a day, you know. When you're live again tomorrow morning, probably. So yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't really expect results overnight, but generally you're probably going to expect about 10, 15 pounds, maybe 20 pounds if you're lucky, like, you know, of muscle gain in your first year. So yeah, like you're not going to get like 30 to 50 pounds of muscle in a year. Like there's people out there that are claiming these things, and it's just a lot of nonsense. There is no one, even with freak genetics, no one's going to be building 50 pounds of muscle in a year. Most people will probably build that in a lifetime. Like 50 pounds of muscle maybe is realistic probably for a lot of people, like throughout their life, like after like a decade of training. So yeah, you'll slow down after a while. After the first couple of years, you'll really start to slow down, because it's just that, you know, the law of diminishing returns. That's just generally what happens in life. Like when we do something and we get good at it, and eventually we'll kind of like start to plateau. We'll kind of still make little bits of progress, but it'll start to stagnate. Like it'll start to kind of go like this, where you kind of reach that sort of like a saturation point, like where you just cannot really get any better, because your genetics just won't allow you to get any better. Hi, the Os Gamers, hope you're well. Good evening to you. Yeah, if anybody's new here, can you subscribe, please? That'd be really appreciated. Yeah, so yeah, share this out if you can, people. That would be great. Yeah, thank you for the 3 likes, everybody. So yeah, let's see if anyone's likes my, or not liked it. I mean, if anyone's interacted with my community post, because I put a post out just a few minutes ago. I was wondering if people will actually react to it or anything. So maybe I should start doing more of that, more community posts and stuff. I've not had any votes on it yet, so oh well. I don't know. So it's like the last time I did a post, it got 39 votes on it, which was should I move to Southeast Asia? And actually 79% said yes. So yeah, that's quite overwhelmingly yes. That's only 21% said no. So yeah, so that's yeah, I forgot I actually posted that, but yeah, because I've been thinking about, you know, possibly moving to Southeast Asia for a while, and it just seems like the right thing to do. Like it makes a lot of sense. Like in terms of like opportunities and stuff, it's just, you've got to go where the opportunities are. I think it just doesn't really feel like there's the same level of opportunities here that there used to be. At one time, you could have just easily started up a business and you could have been successful, but since we've got all this inflation and everything, you know, it's like people are just not really going to be able to support a lot of the local businesses as much as they used to. That's just the day and age that we live in. It's just become more and more, people are having to, you know, become more tight, not that out of choice necessarily, but because they just can't afford to, you know, pay for all these like unnecessary things a lot of the time. I mean, yeah, you could start up a food business or something, but even then it's like I don't know, like it's just with the cost of living and all that. It's like if you made the same amount of profit, but then your cost of living is so much, you might not even be able to. A lot of people are just kind of going bust. Like their businesses a lot of the time are struggling, and yeah, it is what it is. So I think maybe it's best to just kind of look at, you know, like going somewhere where you can benefit from the Western economy whilst being in a cheaper country. So you're getting the best of both. You're getting the best of the Western economy without the Western price tag. So you're arbitraging basically, and for a better lifestyle, if you can earn a good amount of money online. There's people who can earn, let's say, 2,000-3,000 a month online, let's say. In this country, it's not going to really get you that much. But in a country like somewhere like in Southeast Asia, it's gonna buy you a lot more. It's just, yeah, it's gonna buy you a ton more actually for the same amount of money. So this is one thing I really recommend. If you want to live a better life, then you might not want to live in this country. And there's just, in a lot of cases, there isn't even that good, networking opportunities and things. And you might find if you're lucky, but if you're in somewhere like in Thailand, if you're in the Philippines, you might be able to, connect with a lot of, entrepreneurs over there, like digital nomads and stuff, people who do vlogs and things like that. A lot of people just want to, support each other, and there's this kind of more cooperative mindset instead of this kind of dog eat dog and just every person out for themselves. Because if we all come together, we'd actually do a lot better. As in a team together, everyone achieves more. And it's just everyone's become so individualized in these Western countries. It seems they're so much more kind of only care about themselves now, because society, society's kind of collapsing, I think, in the West, with social media and all that kind of stuff. And it seems to be that there's still a lot of traditional values in the East. Hi, Stu, welcome back. So there's still a lot of traditional values over in Eastern countries, I believe. And it's, like, people have a different attitude for life. There's a lot more spirituality and things like that. And just people, it's just their attitude towards life is a lot more positive, a lot more optimistic and appreciative of things. And it's like, when you're around all these negative people, you can start to feel negative yourself. There's this like infectious doomerness about the UK, and it's like, and just when you're around, it just makes you feel like, like, why am I even here? I'd rather be around high vibrational people. So it's just, this country just doesn't make you feel high vibrational, in my opinion. It just feels like kind of dead and just kind of almost depressing. Like, to be honest, that's what it's kind of gotten to in this sort of era. And it's kind of sad, really, but it is what it is. It's just the way things have gotten in 2024. But yeah, it's like, but you've got a choice to be able to, just move on and start a new life up, start somewhere else in a different country where you get access to that freedom, the financial freedom, the location freedom and time freedom. When you're in these countries, you can just like be wherever you want, because if you can, set an online business up, then you can just, move around. You can, of course, you can do that, in this country if you get made enough money, but it's going to make it a lot easier to do that. You could probably, if you've got a bit of savings, you could just set up a business right now, and you could just quit your job now and just go now if you really wanted to. If you've got a bit of savings and you've got something to tide you over, you could be like, right, I'm just going to quit now and I'm going to move to one of these countries now. Like, there's really nothing to stop you. You might, move on from people, but people might miss you, but you got to do what you got to do. These people are just, you don't want to let these people hold you back. If these people really care about you, they'll want the best for you, even if that means that leaving them behind, and you can still talk to them on the phone, and maybe you can even meet up once in a while. But the thing is, if you get like financial freedom, then you'll probably be able to fly out regularly to go see whoever the hell you want. It's going to be a lot easier to access financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom by moving. like you're going to probably have an easier time trying to network with people, and then you'll have access to just the whole world basically once you've conquered these things. Like that's the roadmap. That's the idea, is that you move somewhere where it more facilitates entrepreneurship and ambitious minded people. So yeah, some people just don't seem to be getting it, and I think over time maybe people will. But how's that going, Ellen? Hope you're well. But we've just got to just kind of just be pragmatic and think, is there really a future in the UK and in the Western countries, that for that matter, for a lot of them, especially like Western Europe, America, Canada, countries like that? Is there really a future in these countries where prices have gotten out of control? People have just gotten out of control as well. Lots of issues going on with, the country with all there's a lot of like woke nonsense and things like that. I really support your channel. Oh, cool, good. So a lot of people just decide, you know what? I don't even want to be part of this country anymore. It's become a joke. A lot of the people are a joke. There's a lot of rude people. It's just not an environment I want to be in. It doesn't make me feel good. Like I'm just increasingly just feeling like, it feels like almost like a hostile place. Like I walk around and I barely ever see anyone smiling. I barely ever see anything positive going on. It all just feels very miserable. There's just a kind of sense of grayness about it. It's like because the weather's grey and all that a lot of the time, but it's just the oh yeah, Ellen says you should travel to the Philippines. Yeah, like the Philippines, this, where it's like, where it's like the cost of living and everything is really meant to be quite cheap, very cheap. Yeah, exactly. And, you can rent a place for like, very, very little there. I mean, I'm not really asking for a lot, but I'd have to look and see if I could get one with like a gym on site, maybe. And that would come in with the price of it, where you could share a gym, and that would be ideal for me, really. Like I would be happy with, if it costs, let's say, a couple of £100 a month, and then like you could get food for like probably less than £100 a month, I guess, if you're not like going out all the time for food. You could just like make really cheap foods and stuff like that, like get cheap fruit and veg and stuff like that. Like you could get yourself like things like bananas, and it'd be like a lot cheaper. Like let's see what like the price comparison UK versus Philippines. So I remember looking at this a while ago. Food price. There are some certain things actually are more expensive, but yeah, comparison. So yeah, UK versus Philippines food price comparison. So let's have a look and see how it compares. Please do, Jamie. It would be interesting to find out. Yeah, let's have a look, shall we? So let's say cost of living comparison. Yeah, so it's saying that grocery prices in the UK are 66% higher than in the Philippines. So that's basically what that means, is that it's about almost 3 times. Hang on, wait a sec. 66%. So it's saying groceries are 66% higher. Also, it means 66%, so it's actually not that much different, but it's still quite significantly cheaper. But so it would say things like, a meal out in a restaurant. So, but it's actually way, way different if you're talking about like let's say a meal at an inexpensive restaurant in the UK would set you back £15. Listen to this. In the Philippines, is £2.78. That is more than 5 times less. Think about that. The difference is 438%. So that's for, yeah. So it's also very different for things like domestic beer. So I don't drink beer anyway, but that is very much different. Let's see what it says for things like water. Way cheaper, 326% more expensive in the UK. But actually, milk is actually more expensive in the Philippines. I don't drink milk anyway, but let's have a look. But certain things are kind of expensive. because it depends on where it's coming from. But yeah, you've got white rice. I don't know. Can you actually get brown rice in over there? Because I don't actually usually eat white rice. Because I've heard it's not as good for you as brown rice. Actually, it's so yeah, because it doesn't really show anything about that. So, but yeah, white rice is actually quite a bit cheaper in the Philippines. So when you're like fruits and stuff like that, apples are about the same price. So yeah, the apples are about the same price, and then see what else we've got. I'm just kind of doing the research, and yeah, bananas, they're about the same price as well. I would have thought they'd actually be cheaper over there. Will you be talking with Mick or Mike again? Yeah, maybe soon, some point in the future. I don't know if he's tuning in at the moment, but oranges, they're slightly cheaper. Tomatoes are actually a lot cheaper over there. Potatoes are actually more expensive. Onions are more expensive. Lettuce is more expensive. Some things are actually more expensive over there, so that could be an issue. But cigarettes are way cheaper. They're like 100, basically £2.12 versus £14. That is crazy. The amount of difference between like a 20 pack, which is yeah. But things like transport is so much cheaper over there. So that's good because you can just get around so much cheaper over there. Like for example, a one-way ticket, local transport is like the equivalent of 20p, whereas in the UK it's £2.10. So that's like 10 times cheaper. Smoking himself, I know people shouldn't be smoking, of course. Yeah. Taxes, an average normal tariff. This is like a start tariff in the Philippines, 53 pence. Hello, Jamie, another Jamie, welcome in. But in the UK, it's £3, so way cheaper for like start tariff. Taxi, 1 kilometer normal tariff. In the Philippines, it's 20 pence, and in the UK, it's £1.24. So if you want to like get around places, then it's so much cheaper over there. But yeah. So your utilities, your electric, I see. So like your heating, cooling, water, garbage, it's a lot cheaper in the Philippines. Mobile phone monthly plan is actually more expensive over there, which is to be expected, really. Internet is actually somewhat cheaper, but but you have to get like a mobile phone with data, which how's it going, Bazooki? Oh yeah, smoking a green, what's the matter with it? I don't necessarily think that smoking anything is good because of it can actually be not so good for the lungs. It depends if you need it, but if you don't actually need it, then basically smoking, if it's smoked, and if it's actually eaten, then maybe that's better, but it's actually smoking stuff, it actually causes a lot of damage in the long run. Like, you can tell with their voices, it really can actually ruin your voice even. To get that husky voice, but that's actually a sign of a vocal damage. But I'm just looking at like the costs and stuff, but yeah, rent over there, like the rent is like generally, but listen to this, a one bedroom apartment in the city centre, this would set you back £216.71, whereas in the UK, £1,050 and 32 pence on average. One bedroom apartment outside the centre will set you back £125.81, whereas in the UK, £839 and 59 pence. So it's actually a more exacerbated the difference outside of the centre. What's this? I know the risks, bro. Your average labourer job will have you inhale worse shit without proper respirators. Yeah. But what's your point though? Yeah, it's like, yeah, I get that, but then don't do these jobs without precautions then, it's just common sense, isn't it? So yeah, even listen, right, so even like a 3-bed apartment outside of the city centre will set you back £266 and 4 pence. But in the UK, on average, £1,333 and 12 pence. So that's actually roughly about a 5 times a decrease in price. So maybe it's worth looking at. I was wondering if maybe people want to come with me, because let's say if we can get 3 people together, maybe I could get 2 more people. And let's say if we got like a apartment, 3 bedrooms outside of the centre. I'll take Curtis. Yeah, if anyone's new here, can you subscribe, please? So 260. Let's just say, let's just round it and say £300, right? Let's say we got a 3-bedroom apartment in the Philippines for like £300 a month. That's gonna, if we had 3 people in there, that's gonna come out to like £100 a month, just or so. So that's like, yeah, £100 a month. And then when it comes to like food and stuff like that, then you might be looking at, you probably, if you can really like budget well, you can get by on very little, basically. If you're not, if you don't, go eat out all the time, you just eat a lot of healthy foods and you just make them yourself and try to just go for like the cheap bulk ingredients that you can just cook something with that. But your street food over there is actually generally pretty cheap, so you can treat yourself like once in a while, but you can live pretty frugally on just a few £100s a month by the looks of it. And even if you want to get transport, it's like next to nothing over there compared to what it is in the UK. So yeah, it's just about trying to, just kind of, I mean, there's things that you can buy that are like quite expensive over there, but if you can avoid those things, then you don't need those expenses. Like, for example, I wouldn't be drinking milk, so I would, there's certain things I would not be needing. I would probably just go for like your bulk stuff. Like, I mean, rice, according to this, is like per kilo, 70 pence over there. In this country, it's £1.61. So, yeah, so if I got like a kilo of rice, that would last me for quite a while, yeah. If I was, let's say if I used maybe 100, per time, and if I say like I had rice, let's say once a week, then, it's going to last me for about, 10 weeks, let's say. And even if I used it twice a week, that's like 5 weeks for like 70 pence. So that's, so there's, if you're quite smart with your money, you can like, you're quite frugal, you don't like blow your money on like pointless things. I mean, even things like, 1.5 litre bottle of water over there is like 55 pence on average, it's saying, according to this. Sounds good. I found it such a privilege getting to know Cypriot culture. It really opens your mind to live abroad amongst other cultures. But there's a thing that kind of like was a bit apprehensive because it's a completely different culture, but at the same time, I feel like quite optimistic at the same time, because I'm like, I know that it's probably going to be a better culture, because I'm like, when I look at the UK, I'm thinking, can it really get much worse? I'm like, I hear a lot of good things about Eastern culture and more traditional cultures that still have certain, spiritual practices and set. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you were still there, Mum. I thought you said you were going to bed. But I didn't even see that it was you for a second. Then, Anyway, I'm just like, I'd have to make sure I can get some mobile data, but that's saying it would if you wanted 10 gig plus, that could cost you £24.51 a month. So, whereas it would cost you £12.59 a month in the UK. So, so there's certain things that are going to cost, unfortunately, a bit more, but here we go. We've got things like fitness clubs there, which are actually a little bit cheaper over in the Philippines. And Things like tennis court rent is actually way cheaper. In the Philippines, £3.99 for an hour on the weekend. And in the UK, £11.43. Even things like cinema, you can get, apparently you can get, cinema international release, one seat. In the Philippines, it's £4.58 apparently on average. In the UK, £10, so it's actually less than half the price. So you could just like treat yourself to a cinema for like less than half the price of what it would cost you in the UK. Get this right. So if you have kids, right, if you do need to do like preschool, kindergarten thing for a full day, listen to this, right? For one child, it says, for £92.86. So I think that they're saying it's monthly. In the UK, £1,264.92. Yeah, you heard that right. So in the Philippines, it's £92.86. But in the UK, it's £1,264.92. So that is about roughly 13 times the price in the UK. Yeah. So that is crazy. And then you've got international primary school yearly for one child, £3,702.56. In the UK, £15,325.84. So that's an almost that's about 4 times the price. Blimey. So yeah, clothing generally is cheaper over there as well. Like I said, rent is just way cheaper. And let's see what's this buy apartment price. So let's see, price per square meter to buy apartment in city center. In the Philippines, it's £1,746.71 per square meter. In the UK, £4,789.06. Price per square meter to buy apartment outside of centre. In the Philippines, £900.63. In the UK, £3,748.98. So that's like, again, it's like actually it's more exacerbated outside the center. I think it's because in the center, in places like the Philippines, is where all like the GDP is. So yeah, you're gonna have more, it's going to be like generally going to be because where you have all the tourists and stuff. But then as soon as you get out of the city center, that's where you're going to see the prices really go down like really a lot. So I mean, it's tempting to kind of like live in the center because you might get the more chances that in your condo block you might have like networking opportunities in there. But I'd probably try to kind of network with people in the area and just try to talk to locals and try to maybe that can just share out my, stuff, what I'm doing, and maybe they would all come and watch me. They would all come and support what I have because I've got a good positive message that I'm trying to put out, and I think they would be quite happy to see what I'm about. So, yeah, I think they'll probably be happy for me to be there because I'm actually contributing to their economy. So, and by them supporting me to help me make more money, they're actually helping me to make more money for their economy. So, yeah, they probably won't be thinking like that, but so here we go. Like average monthly net salary after tax in the Philippines, £295.7. In the UK, £2,433.94. So, wow. How are they even getting by on £295.70 in the Philippines? So, I guess if they've got like a really like small place and they're just really tight with like spending on things, I guess. if they really kind of budget well, maybe they'll have like multiple people in one house. Like I said, with like, if you have, say, like an apartment and you have three people in there, you can probably get it for like £100 a month. And your food might only come out to like £100 a month or so if you really budget it well. Depends on how much you eat. I do eat quite a lot of food, so I would probably end up spending quite a bit on food. But as for like your rent, it's like next to nothing in comparison, especially as you're out when you get out of the city centre. It's more when you're in the city centre over there where it's kind of a bit more expensive, but yeah, getting out of the centre would make it really, really cheap to live. It would be like 100. I mean, it would be like, yeah, probably about. I could probably get, realistically, I could survive on about £300 to £500 a month. Not that I necessarily want to do that because I'd want to actually have a life, but if I had to, then that's what I could realistically get by on. In this country, you can get by on like nowhere near that, unless you like have a few people in like, and you have to have like half a dozen to a dozen people in like one house or something, and you can maybe make costs quite low. But if you ever need to travel around in this country, it's not cheap. Taxis are not cheap. Buses, trains, they've all gone crazy high in price lately. Like I used to remember a lot of this stuff was actually fairly cheap, but train tickets have absolutely just gone through the roof. I was surprised actually some of these bus tickets were actually quite cheap, but when it comes to trains, they're like, yeah, I remember they used to be actually a decent price. Like, and you look at like a train to get to like London, and it's really, really expensive. It's like, how does anyone even afford that? So they're putting all these prices up, but yet people seem to be getting paid less. I don't know, or not less, but like less relative to the prices. So I don't know. It's just, I do think that like some people are getting screwed over with these things that they're. Of course, there is some like people in the trains where they are getting paid quite a lot. I've heard people talking about like even a lot of like your conductors are not getting particularly bad wages, but well, yeah, in the Philippines they speak Filipino. So like yeah, I only know like a couple of words. Like I remember there was a word called kamusta. I just need to check, make sure I know what that is. Kamusta. Is it kamusta? If I remember. And yeah, it means hello apparently. So yeah, that's kamusta. Remember there was another word called Paul. Yeah, so Paul means respect or something. Hang on. They just put it in like a end of a sentence, so it's just like a kind of. Yeah, so I remember there was a word called salamat or something like that. Salamat, which is I think it's another greeting word, which means thank you. So another would say salamat po. I've heard them saying a lot. So that must just be like, kind of like, maybe it's like putting an exclamation mark or something perhaps. I don't know, cause not exclamation mark, a full stop. I don't know, maybe something like that. Or maybe I don't know, maybe like a full stop. I don't know. I'd have to kind of ask them about that. But yeah, so I've got so far, kamusta means hello, and yeah, so, and salamat means thank you. So yeah, yeah, so, but yeah, some people say, we should try and learn, different languages. I think can be a good part of like self-improvement, and because if you can learn different languages, then it gives you more access to different cultures, and because yeah, you can go over there and a lot of them speak English, but they're going to have more respect for you if you at least know bits of their language. You don't have to be fluent in their language, but you have to at least know some bits of it to be to be respected. Because it's like you wouldn't expect someone to come here and not be able to speak any of of English, that would be quite disrespectful, wouldn't it? But I suppose it's a bit different because like English is kind of like the universal language, not universal, but it's like language that's most commonly spoken. I think Spanish was the second one as well, but yeah, English is like speaking in so many different countries, and it's kind of expected of most people to be at least able to speak it to a certain degree. Whereas in other countries, it's not as expected, which I think is not really fair. We should be like more kind of speak other languages. Hi, Elliot, welcome in. How you doing? Make sure you subscribe if you're new here. So I'm just talking about learning different languages, because then it really kind of unlocks a lot of these different cultures, and you can really get a lot more respected from people in these different countries. So when you go to travel abroad and you go and live in these different countries, and then you can really sort of learn from them, because then they're more likely to open up to you when you actually show at least some respect to them by greeting them in their language, because they're just going to make you come across like a bit rude and obnoxious when you're only speaking in your own language. You don't necessarily have to always speak in their language, but yeah, knowing a few words I think goes a long way, like just little bits like that. Like if I was going to go to Spain, then maybe I would say, like muchos gracias or something like that, and buenos dias or something like that. Buenos dias, amigo, which means good day, friend. Yeah, and then adios, amigo. So you just like learn a few more words, and it's like you could just not necessarily have a conversation, but you would just be able to like at least greet and be polite. It's kind of like just yeah. So I think it's something to kind of keep in mind that they're not going to be too happy if you don't know anything in their language. Even just knowing a few words it goes a long way. Shows you at least you kind of care a little bit. So I read somewhere once yo-yos were invented in the Philippines. Really? Oh wow, I didn't know that. I actually heard someone say that the words shampoo, and I think there was another word, pajamas, are actually Indian words. Yeah, so pajamas, pajama, shampoo. When you think about it, it does sound very Indian, doesn't it? Because it's actually, the English language has a lot of borrowed words from other languages like Germanic and things like that. Even a lot of like French and Latin words. Things like you hear a lot of trying to think of an example, but we do use a lot of a lot of it came from Latin. It's like, for example, the egg whites, the word albumin. I'm pretty sure that's a Latin derived word. It's that the actual official name for the egg whites, the albumin. That's it's a Latin word. It's Latin for white, isn't it? Something Anglo-Saxon words. Yeah, a lot of it is. Like, I think, isn't it word school? If you think about the word school, SCH, anything with SCH, like schedule, school, things like that, I believe they're like, if you look, they actually sound very German. Yeah. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, schooner, yeah. But yeah, words like that are, I think, German derived, you can tell. Even I think the word yacht as well, like the word yacht sounds very let me have a look. That word yacht has a very kind of let me just see what what language it was derived from. So yeah, it's kind of like the English is kind of just like a melting pot of different languages, pretty much, isn't it? It's kind of that's to me like England basically in general. It's like even with like the food and everything, the culture, it's all just a melting pot of different things. It doesn't really feel like we've got our own kind of thing anymore. Like we used to have Old English, which was, yeah, and then we kind of, I don't even know where Old English came from. Like, was that, I don't know if it was that influenced from something else, or I did not really look too much into it, but yeah, like the word yacht. Yes, it's a Dutch word. So yeah, I did think it was Dutch because it does sound very Dutch sounding actually. Yeah, so it's actually yeah, Dutch derived words. So a lot of the words that we get are either from, you know, Germany or Netherlands. Or Dutch language is actually very much derived from like German. I believe it's like you look at the language, they kind of have a lot of similarities. A large glass of beer is called a schooner. Oh, really? Oh, well. No, yeah, it sounds very. Actually, it sounds kind of Dutch. That would when you. I don't know if it's Dutch or if it's German, but the word school. I don't know if like. Let's have a look. Because I notice a lot of double O's and double E's in Dutch. So yeah. But yeah, like let's have a look. It could be German, but yeah. But yeah, I think it's important to actually have a bit of knowledge of different languages. Maybe learn a bit of, you know, like maybe a bit of, you know, Filipino if you want to go there, or maybe Thai if you want to go there. Like it's just out of respect for their culture. So, but yeah, let's have a look what the word actually come from. The word school. Dale says, "What do you think of slap fighting, the sport where a person and their opponent like take turns slapping each other without being able to defend the slap? No flinching allowed or turning away." That just sounds stupid to me. Yeah. I saw this thing where like Larry Wheels got slapped and he might have even got brain damage for that. Anyway, so yeah. So the word school, so try to find where it comes from. It says it's from Old English skull. I would have actually thought it sounded more like a Germanic word or something like that, or a Dutch word, but according to this, it's from Old English, from skull. I suppose when you think of like scholarship and stuff like that, maybe that's kind of got the same kind of origin or something. Like scholarship. Yeah, it is dangerous, that stuff. It's just stupid. But it said that, how was the word school born? School started its life as a word in Greece with the word skol. In Greek, it meant leisure. Completely opposite of what students or teachers take it to be today. The jump from leisure to learning is not as distant as it sounds, though, right? So, yeah. But I would have thought skull sounds very German to me. I don't know, or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. Yeah, how's everybody doing anyway? Hope you've all had a good day. But that's interesting because I always thought of it like was either mainly probably Dutch or something like that, or German. School. Let's have a look at the word schedule. So I got that wrong there, but yeah. Because schedule sounds like it's from one of those countries. But again, I could be wrong. Anything with SCH, like Schwartz or something like that, it sounds, yeah. Let's see. It says it's from ancient Greek, this one as well. So I'm wondering if there's any connection with Germanic and like ancient Greece or something. Like that sounds like quite a kind of a stretch, but I've seen that with Larry Wheels, the guy that slapped him. Is it known as a big name in power slapper? And like you said, to knock Larry Wheel unconscious. Yeah, we actually knocked him unconscious. Crazy stuff that, and that, yeah. So you've been kind of paying attention with all that. Have you seen that Jack's Fit, did you say? And he's just like hopped on MK677 because he can't barely eat any food and he's like struggling to gain weight and strength. And he's just like suddenly started to blow up now, basically. He's on this stuff, he's now eating in a calorie surplus, and he's finally starting to make gains. So good for him, I suppose, but gotta be careful taking that stuff, though. You don't know what you're doing with that. Maybe there's other natural supplements you can take that are hunger inducing, perhaps. It's just that I would do anything natural first before ever taking anything like that, really. But yeah, good luck to him. But yeah, I seen that Jeff Nippon got assaulted. I think you spoke about him before. Yeah, and then there was that whole thing of Alex Eubank going on TRT at the age of 24 because it's all to do with the body dysmorphia. He's this big influencer, but he keeps meeting up with these people like Togi. Have you heard of Togi before? Like this like roided up, like just like train wreck, basically. I've been seeing some stuff on him. He's a freaking train wreck. He's like gambling all his money away. He's now got some skin condition or something. He's an absolute mess. It's like, does he lack self-awareness so much to realize he's such a mess and he needs to sort his life out or something? I don't know. But maybe he's just feels like he's just backed himself into a corner and can't really do anything about it. I don't know. A lot of these people they know that they're doing something wrong, but they don't feel like there's a way out or something, and they're just, yeah. But yeah, it's crazy stuff been going on lately in the fitness space. It seems like there can be not much going on for a while, and then suddenly everything's all kind of popping off. There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. I don't know what that's all about, really, but yeah. Things have gotten wild. Yeah. Yeah, it's gotten wild in the fitness space, really. But yeah, with this Alex Eubank, and it's like, I think it's just like him trying to maintain a very lean physique while still, sort of feeling like you've got being a man, basically. But if you get too lean, that can have an effect. But maybe if he even just jumped his body fat percentage up even by, a couple of percentage points, it might even make all the difference. But I think he's afraid to do that, even if just to lose a little bit of that definition. Like, he doesn't have to get bulked up to where he's got no abs or anything like that. He could still have, an impressive physique, just with a slight bit more body fat, and it can really make all the difference. Instead of you feeling like you're starving all the time and that your testosterone's gone down, and yeah, it's just but people have been questioning that the guy's probably wasn't natural for quite a while, actually, because of some of the stuff that you're saying about his blood work, how his testosterone went so high and then down so much. Seemed a bit sus, really, where he was saying it went from, 900 down to like 200 and something, which is crazy, or 300, whatever it were. But this huge yo-yo in his testosterone. So something's obviously a bit fishy there. But yeah, I remember back in the day there was Jeff Seed or Side, whatever it, yeah, Side, yeah. And before him, a guy called Ziz. Yeah, Ziz was like one of the OGs of the fitness on YouTube, back when before it got really popular, and he was the one that kind of left a legacy behind. And yeah, he sort of like inspired a generation, I think, wasn't he? Like an influence. But you could say like maybe Hamza was part of that as well, with like his. You could say there's been some good things with what he's done, but people have kind of like, thinking that he's not really that reliable now, and he's kind of contradicted himself a lot. But Hamza has actually probably left a mark as well with the fitness and the self-improvement as well. So I give credit where credit is due. He has kind of made like Nicola, oh yeah, hello, how you doing? Hope you're well tonight. So he's made some stuff. I think that you could say with all the self-improvement, it wasn't just him. Obviously, there was other people involved as well, but I think he was one of the main players. And you've seen so many people, going to the gym now. You've seen so many people getting into the self-improvement and bettering their lives and being more confident and all that. So I think Ziz inspires young men because he wasn't huge, but he had muscle. But yeah, an over-the-top personality may seem to be like you would say to overcompensate for something. Yeah, because I think that's what he was doing. Yeah, thank you for the 9 likes, everybody. Let's get to 10 likes, people. Yeah, I think that's what he was doing, like where he, because of all the insecurities he had, he sort of like tried to kind of then, he then, I think he did steroids, which was, thing is, if he actually trained naturally for a while, he probably could have got that physique without, or a similar kind of physique without taking it. It's just, you wanted to speed things up, but if he'd maybe just stopped taking them, and then he might have actually been able to live a lot longer, because he had this like heart defect, and I think that really made him, unfortunately, not live as long as he should have, really. So it is sad, really, but this is what happens when you do these kind of reckless things and you don't get yourself checked out to see if you've got a congenital heart defect, for example, and because then you ended up like going into a sauna or something, and so all these things combined, like, just was a recipe for disaster, really. And steroids, I don't think, are a good idea at the best of times, and it can cause all sorts of problems. So yeah, but he left a legacy, and but yeah, I think people should just try and take their time and just do things naturally. I think you're right. So there in Thailand, yeah, that was what happened. So I think it was a combination of, his heart defect plus the steroids, to cause like high blood pressure. And then the sauna would then potentially have like stressed out the system even more. So it was like this kind of triple whammy effect possibly that was going on. And it's kind of funny how it happened. Not funny, but it's like kind of odd how, it was in a sauna where it happened. So I think that probably played some part in it. You probably shouldn't really be going in a sauna if you've got a heart defect, especially if you're doing PEDs, and you shouldn't be doing PEDs as well. But when you're doing all these things, then yeah, it's just crazy. I would never take part in a bodybuilding competition, I don't think, because the thing with that stuff is that they require you to do crazy stuff like getting dehydrated before the show. Like, literally just, when you're at that level, it's like, it can really be bad for you. I've actually done dry fasting before, but it's crazy, that stuff. It's really not good for you. And when you look into it, it's like, we need water. The body needs water. And it's like, when they're dehydrating themselves, then of course that's not good for you, that, is it? It's not going to do your body well at all, is it? You just, how did the dry fast go? It's just, it gets to a point where your mouth starts to get all really dry, and you get this kind of funny taste in your mouth, because basically all you can taste is like food from like probably like days ago, and it's probably all kind of it might even be like bacterial kind of buildup or something like that because it's just not washing away. It's just kind of where it tastes there's this kind of like almost like a sour kind of taste in there. It was like, and you just kind of sometimes I'll get to a point where I'd start feeling kind of lightheaded, and that might have been due to low sugar. I don't know. It could have been whatever it might be, whether it was because of no water in my body or imagine you lost a bit of weight. Yeah, you lose weight, of course. That's part of the reason the reason why I ended up getting so skinny at one point. I ended up crazy, like skinny, like I probably like lost any bit of muscle that I had, and I never really had much muscle when I was like growing up, but I basically just was nothing there. It was like I almost looked like the guy, what was it, Christian Bale out of that film? I can't remember what it was called, but I was not quite that bad, but I think there was probably like still a slight bit of fat there, but because I was probably somewhere in the region of about, well, at the lowest, I probably got down to like 7-8% body fat. But because I had such little amount of muscle, that there was just no definition there. It was just nothing there. It was like, it was just absolutely just like skin and bone. Crazy. I mean, people talk about like abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym or something like that. But if you don't have any muscle, then there's not going to be anything to really show at a low body fat percentage. So you need at least a little bit of muscle there to then be able to reveal it. It's just going to be like a lot more impressive, a lot more pop out. Because it's like, yeah, you could get lean, you can show it off. You don't have, huge muscle, but it's just not going to look as impressive. So I think like training your abs is good, and I think just train every part of your body really. Did a bit of abs earlier. I did like been learning about this thing about if you want to, because I did a bit of lower abs. So if you want to train your lower abs, then you need to do what's it called posterior like flexion. Basically, you need to tilt your to kind of basically it's like you're curving the like bottom of your like torso. So it's like, so imagine you're on the floor and you're doing like the leg raise, and you're kind of like doing, it's like kind of like where your legs, you stick your legs up, but you need to make sure that you're lifting your butt off. So it's like yeah. So that's what you do. It's because that's going to actually activate it. But you see these people doing these stupid things like just sitting on the floor, just like, like doing the kind of like kicking the legs up in the air. That doesn't really do anything for the abs. It's more going to be like hip flexors that are going to be worked with that kind of stuff. So there really isn't any point if you want to train your abs with that. It's just not really going to be very effective. So yeah, it'd be great for the hip flexors, but does that really matter? If you're training your abs, then yeah, you want to make sure that you're getting the posterior curve basically. So yeah, don't know what's going on tonight. I guess some people might be a bit busy and all that, and Sunday night, I don't know, but would have thought that people might be just kind of like tune in more. I don't know, when it's like this sort of time, and people might want to hang out with us, and while they're kind of, I don't know, how's it going, Doug 666? What are you on about? Or is that troll person you're on about? I haven't seen that for a while. When I was a teenager, Bruce Lee was my physique inspiration. Yeah, I think maybe he's a little bit too much on the skinny side. It just like kind of, it's like that kind of wiry kind of look. It's maybe a bit too much on the skinnier side, maybe. I would say, I'm trying to think like a more like balanced physique would be probably, I'd have to think of an example, but I know a lot of people say like Brad Pitt Fight Club, maybe that one, possibly. Stallone, maybe that, I don't know if that was maybe a bit too, I don't know, it's like something more kind of like athletic, but like not too skinny, but not too muscular either, somewhere kind of in between. I'd say Fight Club, maybe Troy actually. The Troy was a little bit more muscular, I think, wasn't it? Troy, I think I've actually seen Troy a long time ago, but yeah. Just remember he was in that. But yeah, if you look at Brad Pitt when he was in Troy, he had like they call like the warrior physique. I think that's like like a pretty reasonable physique, I would say. Nothing too extreme. Like it's just kind of healthy looking, and yeah. So yeah, that would be yeah, show you what I mean. This is the Troy physique. So that there, he's obviously got some muscle, and he's got definition as well, but just in a kind of a good balance, really. This is another photo of it there. I think he had a little bit more muscle than he did on the Fight Club. I think that's probably a kind of balanced physique that kind of looks like healthy and strong, but also not too muscular to where it would become impactful to your health. So yeah. Anyway, I saw this thing where he apparently put on a slight bit of weight for that role, according to, and versus like the Fight Club one. Fight Club versus Troy, Brad Pitt. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be staying on here much longer. Maybe I'll go back off for a bit and then come back on, and maybe I'll just have a bit of a break or something. I don't know. But yeah. There's one where on Snatch, looks like he had a good physique on that as well. But yeah, Fight Club, maybe he just looked a bit too kind of. Well, it says here that he was at apparently 155 pounds on Fight Club. Yeah. Well, apparently on Troy he was 185 pounds, so he actually was a bit more, had a bit more size on him, like 30 pounds more. So that's about a couple of stone heavier actually. So, but it still looks like naturally attainable at that amount. It's just more of like warrior physique versus the one on Fight Clubs, like more of that kind of Bruce Lee kind of like kind of wiry sort of look. And it's like, yeah, it looks quite impressive with the abs and the definition and all that, but I don't know, like this is the kind of the Fight Club look. It's it's obviously it's quite impressive, but yeah, it's just maybe a little bit too much on the skinny side, perhaps. He built up for Troy, yeah. He still was quite lean though on that, by the looks of it. Probably around 10% body fat there. It was said that on Fight Club he was somewhere around 6 to 8% body fat, which was, yeah, I don't think that's maybe realistic for most people to be maintaining that level. So yeah, might just go off for a second and then come back. I'll be back soon, guys.